All right. Let's go down to negative 43 decibels, and we are good to go. All right. Good morning. So I've been game deving. Still on this skill tree, but we're on a different side of it. I'm going to reveal it slightly slowly. 1 second. There we go. Okay, so originally, I'll show what I had before. This was well, this isn't the system that I had before, actually. I kind of overhauled it a lot on this side. But originally, the skill trees look like this, right? You had all of these nodes, but we're inside of this array. I started to employ several new systems for me and decided to just take the time to ingest them slowly over time. So the first one is now we're just displaying these as scriptable objects instead of exposing them as serializing them as POCOs or plain old C objects. We display them right here. And you'll notice that we've nested these inside of this scriptable object. This came with a nice little hurdle that was super easy to get by, and it's worth addressing because if you are following my previous video on the addressable system and you're using that system and decide that you want to do nested scriptable objects, you're going to find that Unity by default does not detect nested objects. Don't ask me why, it just doesn't. So you have to be a little bit clever about how to get that. And it's very simple. I'm going to show it in a second. But before that, basically, we've employed the nesting system here to the data object, I believe they're called, which is the class that this extends. It's this concrete class all of these nodes extend. And that's what's making this whole thing work. So next you'll notice that we still have our nice little skill tree here. So instead of using an array here to populate these nodes, which I just felt wasn't going to be useful. Like early on it's not a problem, but down the road it's going to be a problem. So instead I did this. Okay. So right now we have just 2 of them here. If I press play, you'll see that this automatically... So there was 0 code change between the GUI and the skill tree data. And this is the best part about approaching code by separating out concerns. There's no reason for this to know anything about this. But this is the middleman, so it needs to know about both of them, right? Well, actually, this doesn't need to know about this either. This needs to know about this, and this needs to know about this. So what this is doing, the skill tree editor, is it's basically, so this is what's called a UGUI element, or sorry, this is what's called a UI element. It's separate from UGUI. This down here is UGUI. You can tell it because we have to use a canvas. Where is it? There we go. We have to use a canvas. Right? So with what we set up here with UGUI, so is UI elements useful? Yes. Here's the thing. I would rather eat bricks than utilize the UI elements UI for creating UIs. In other words, you know how you would, or if you don't know, but you normally would for UGUI, you have a whole interface where you can add images. Like you can just add an image and you have an image. You would nest things. The rec transform handles most of that work for you, all of this stuff, and you can just physically place things around. It's very interactive. None of that, it's not the same for UI element. It's nowhere near the same. But for some bizarre reason, that then makes UI elements easier to code for. So all of this that you see I'm about to do today was all generated in code originally. We're probably going to be doing a little bit of code also on top of it as we build out the skill tree on this side. To show that this even works, let's run play mode real quick. You'll see that these two, so like if let's go down to here real quick. So you'll see that this has like required nodes, and it just requires one node, which is the core node, right? The core node has its own ID. If we click on the core node, so this is 199, so you'll see that the core node is 199. It also knows who its children are, which is this one, obviously. So I'm going to disconnect it right now, so you can see, right? And so this is updating in real time. Okay. So now if I run play, now this side probably needs work still, but for the purposes that we have it here, you'll see that it works perfectly fine. It is reading that we have these two nodes, that this node is a child of the core node directly. Right? So we're going to be building this out completely, and we did create an algorithm for handling how the nodes want to position themselves relative to their parents. Okay. Let's, if you guys want me to go into the code proper for setting up this graph, I can do that. But today I kind of want to just build this out a little bit and see where it breaks, because that's what I'm testing for. I need to find the breaks to fix them. Hey, what's going on, Nepal? Good morning. Okay, so let me look at my chart real quick, because I have a separate chart for what should be coming next. Harebrained about what? Not a harebrained dude, don't worry about it. That was like, dude, you played it for like 3 hours. That was your first 3 hours ever touching the game. You did better than just about anybody else who's never actually touched. I guarantee you any of those other new guys had probably played previous Phantasy Stars, so they already knew what was up. You know what I mean? So it's very easy to get overwhelmed by just doing the story, and that there's no fault in that. Okay. Alright, so let's talk about this for a second. Do like this. So the Marshall DAO, what this is supposed to do is we created a node called an unlocker node, and we have a whole unlocker system. So this is actually really cool. Oh, right. Let me go into what I had to change for the game data real quick. So in order to get the address system to work, we did something really simple. We created a static hash set on the data manager. And then inside of the data object, as soon as it lets me go. As soon as it lets me go. There we go. Okay. So over here on its validate, all we do is check if the data container already contains this data object, and if it does not, then we add it. That's it. That's all we have to do. Very simple little change over here. You'll see it right here. This is it. Public static, which is just catching it. Then when we go to our context menu, or we go to the top bar and then go to our tools and then tell it to update the the addresses, the first thing that we do is we use a little bit of link to check all of the addresses to make sure we're not taking any null ones, get rid of them, and then convert this to an array, and then it just handles the rest. None of the rest of this code changed. Well, I turned this part off because this is for debugging. But everything else here is pretty much the exact same as it was before. So again, the only changes that you'd need to make in order to get the system to work with scriptable object nesting is this. That's it. On this script. And then in the data object, we just put these 2 lines. Alright? That's it. Pretty simple. Actually, this is actually a more elegant solution than what we originally came up with. So necessity made something even better than what we had previously. Isn't that awesome? Alright, let's get back to it. So we have this system here, which is our progression system. And if we look at our entity, which is this is all temporary placement, it's just so we can test things out. But we have our progression controller. So in our progression controller, we're doing something super simple. Oh, there we go. So this is, we're using JSON, Newsoft JSON, or Newtonsoft JSON. So we have to mark these off as a JSON property, otherwise it won't serialize properly. Well, maybe this will serialize properly, but do it just in case, it doesn't hurt. So you'll see a couple things happening here. We have some overloads going on, right? Basically, we just convert any strings that we get. We try to get if it has progress, if it's null, blah, blah, blah. That's basically it. But we're just converting it over to its progress. So this is assumed to be the address. So if I do something like, let's do something like remove progress, and then I do property progression, or actually something like that, right? We can check to see if we have this progression already. Pretty cool, huh? Or try to remove it, rather. Okay. So now we can get back. So this is basically where things are going to be checked out. So the progress itself is nothing more than an ID number and a name. That's literally all it is. So the ID number is based on a hash, so it should never really get a collision, but if it does, it's very rare. And we can be able, since we're doing it at build time, we can check collisions at build. We don't need to worry about the player accidentally hitting a collision during a completed run. Okay. So according to our chart here, we need to start doing some minor stuff. So the very first one is so the way the game is built, the way I'm building it out. You start off with your 3 basic attacks, right? When you're using a weapon. There's nothing truly special, it's just 3 basic attacks. Every weapon is going to have its 3 basic attacks by default. It's almost like as if it's unequipped. Once you get your first skill point, you can choose which path to unlock. Right now we're going to be digging into the martial path. So this is dealing with weapons specifically. Well, weapons and combat generally, right? But weapons specifically. So this one, we have this as an unlocker node, and it's going to pass in once it's once we learn this, it'll pass in that we've unlocked this. The UI will then allow us to equip a cultivation manual inside of our, think of them like equipment slots. So our combos, what is it called? I can just read it, right? I don't need to come up with stuff off the top. In my head, we could just read it. So unlock the ability to equip and meditate on combat style cultivation manuals. So combat styles are basically your 3 attacks. Well, technically 6. because you might have variants of them in the air. So if you go up into the air, this will dictate what 3 or 6 attacks you'll do. When you go to different schools and you get different manuals, you might find one that matches you, and you can build your style out however you choose to build them out, right? But then you have from here alternative attacks. So basically, unlike with this, which is just one slot, the alternative attacks have 3 separate slots. Each one has a second variant for when it's in the air. But basically, the alternative attack is, for the way you haven't played the game, I have, but basically when you attack, when I hold left click to do my regular attacks, I can hold a direction. Typically I'm thinking to put it back as away. And then it'll do an alternate version of the attack. So when you see me do like the launcher attack combo, that launcher is an alternate version of the third attack, right? And so for each one of these stages of the attack, the first, second, and third, you can hold into a direction and execute the alternate of that if you have one of these equipped for that stage of the attack. You can have up to 3 of these, obviously. And then the final unlock is for your finisher. So for your martial, in the previous iteration of this project, you probably, if you've seen the video, like with the huge sword that comes down and stabs to the ground, or the gigantic ball that starts rolling forward, or the scythes, or sorry, not scythes, the chakrams where they turn into like the spinning wheels of death type of thing. So those are like your finishers, right? And so you have to unlock that also. Unlike with the basic attack, you still always get your basic. You do not get your alternates, and you do not get your finishers. There's no default template for those. You just can't use them until you've unlocked that. That's the idea of what these unlockers do, and what this skill tree is going to kind of run its way through. Because in between that, you're going to be unlocking different things like stat increases and so on. But the very first thing that you do when you start moving on to the martial path, which is the martial Dao, is you unlock your ability to learn new cultivation manuals. Now, this is important, but I'm not going to get into the whole cultivation system. So we're just going to do this this part now. Getting the skill tree done was very useful for dealing with game progression. If you can't tell. Super excited about that. Alright, so the stats that deal primarily with, let's add a new stat node. So in these cultivation stories, typically you have 3 branches of stats. You have blood, bone, meridians, which is kind of blood. Muscles. There are others too, actually. I think on it. There's a few. So we're going to deal with these. Right? So these should never really deal with our base stats. These should be dealing with our parameters. Base stats generally don't increase using via the tree. So let's do that. Let's fill this in first and find out. So we're going to target, the martial lethality. And we're going to say that this increases by 1%. Or is this, yeah, this is 10%. Right? What does this max out at? 5? You know what? I don't like that. Let's change it. We're gonna leave this here for now, but we're gonna change that. Give me a second. Oh, and it does preserve. So you'll see here, like I just let's actually name that something. So let's call it this is martial lethality. So let's call it I don't know, what's a good name for this? Naming stuff is hard. It's supposed to drop. Okay, we're right. Okay, yeah, we're gonna leave it like that. And so now this is a good part to show. So you see how it's not over here? So if I go and say, so we have refresh graph here, save graph. I don't think autosave is working. I'm not sure if I hooked it in. Maybe I did. Maybe I did. But you'll notice that martial honing is not here on the list. So we just need to do save. And boom, now it's right here. And if we make any changes to this, so let's like increase the tier. You see that the tier changes. There we go. You see that the tier changes? Alright, there we go. That's all good. Hey, what's going on, Nick? Hey, maybe Nick would play that? Well, I don't think he's not going to play that, actually. Now that I think on it. It's like pulling teeth to get Nick to play multiplayer on anything. I think he's just too cool for school. No, I'm not even gonna say it. Don't even worry about it, Nick. Not even gonna say it. You're gonna make me think that there's even a chance or a possibility. Not even gonna say it. All right, let me see if this works, because I actually haven't tested it out to see what happens when we do 3. So this might be the first break that we can check. Awesome. Okay, so it broke. Let's see how badly it broke. So leave it here. It broke bad. It broke bad. Oh, it didn't break. I know what I did. I think I have to do this. I have to actually validate the list. There we go. So now, once we do that, we just need to register all addressables. And that's it. So let's see if it works now. It should work. There's nothing preventing it, right? Oh. Nope, it don't work. So we need to find out what's happening here. That, because it will work if we do this. I'll show you. If we do another, let's say another unlock node, so like that, this will work perfectly fine. There, see? Is down here. Oh, I think that's what's happening. Found the problem. Yep, we found the problem, sir. It's going to take a little bit of extra work because these are new types of slots. The unlock nodes are a new type of slot. We have separate things that need to be. But you can see that it is still forcing its way through. This is just the so stat slot is a catch-all slot. It'll just do basic slot thing. Um, right. So now we just need to make the algorithm to make it pick up on this, basically. Anything that extends that should be. So I'm debating, should I fix this now? I mean, we know that it's the problem. Or should I just build this out and then when I'm done building, go back and fix it? Hmm. Hmm. One sec. I think my internet went down. Oh, the avatars. One sec. This is. Okay. Yeah, I think my internet is just being. Is the stream actually up or not? I think it is. Yeah, my internet is just super flaky right now. Give me one second. think we are still flaky, but it looks like nope. It's all right. We just got to give it time, I guess. I'm gonna just keep working. I think I'm going to just work on fixing this thing. That's the bet. Not sure internet decided. Okay. Hmm. All right. All right. So yeah, we know that this works. Need to go into this tree. I think it's on the grid itself. Yep, there it is. Okay. Believe it or not, it's been about a week and a half since I've looked at this code. So you got to give me a second to get my mind back into where this is supposed to be. So, yeah. First thing that we have to do is place the core to E0. Thought I changed this. To answer your questions, I did not see Slime Keep devlog. I don't even know what Slime keeps. Get up though. One sec. Oh, I think we just do. Yeah, there we go. Same thing. Okay, so we do this, we pull, and then we do. And then from there, everything else. This is my pooler system. So once we do this, we know that we can now pool the core UI node. Let's see if my internet is better. It could be because we're having a storm. So thing also. I shouldn't say storm. It's like spring weather. Okay, let me check now, see if the thing is working. No. So weird. I don't get it. It looks like my internet is down, but it my laptop just shut down without no. Yeah. Technology, bruv. Right now, I did not expect. Everything was working perfectly fine up until I started streaming. So, not sure what's going on right now. Okay. I think it was just the wind. So Firefox is making me think that I probably want to change my browser. Because it's been acting real weird for a little bit. Yeah, now everything is working fine. All right, there we go. Okay, now I feel better. Oddly enough, that feels better. Okay. Let's get into it. So we set up the core. So we need to make a decision. When we do this, do we how many passes do we want to do? Do we do I think we're going to have to do 3 passes. No. No. We're going to do 2 passes. This is only going to need 2 passes. Right? We're only going to need 2 passes for this. So let's do that. So after we've placed this, basically we place the core node as a core UI, and then we've added it, and then we mark the cell as occupied. Okay. All right. Let's look at the code that we already have before we write new code. Let's see what's going to happen here. So this part works perfectly fine. Right? The core node comes in. But then when we go to populate children, we put in the core slot as the parent, and we give the core slot's position. Then we say, well, if this is the core child, and we put that to true over here. Then the first thing that we do is we get the parents' children IDs. If the child ID is equal to null or the length is equal to 0, we just return out. In this case, it isn't. We know that the core has children. Then we get the list of skill slots. And then we do for each ID and child, we add, okay. So then we just add that if we have the ID. So now this one works perfectly fine because we're seeing these pop up. The problem is over here now. So the reason why we had to do these separately is because these need to be spawned in a specific set way around the core. Meanwhile, these need to be spawned in a different way. So let's handle the spawning of these now. So then we just return, that's fine. And then we draw the tree connections down here after. So this is basically we place all of the nodes and then we draw the connections. Gotcha. Awesome. So let's see if we're getting here first before we do stuff. Okay, so this should just ping once for this and then this. It could be... No, place child should handle it. So let's see what happens. Save the graph. And then let's run it, see what happens. We just need to see if it is going to fire that off. Okay, so we got here. What the heck is Con 1 again now? Slime Keep is a cool indie game roguelike that spawned from a wave thingy for a game jam. That sounds cool. I think I know what you're talking about. I think I played it on Itch. Now that I think about it, like, is it the one where it's like a graveyard and you can like spawn monsters to stop heroes? Is that the one? I think I played it like a year and a half ago. I like Firefox just because I don't like Chromium, and Safari users are not real. Oh, and the game has been in development for 4 years. Small detail. My package will arrive in up to 5 business days. Time to stare at the wall for 5 days. I hate that, bro. I mean, you know, at the same time, I can't feel too bad for you because you kind of... Oh, we needed to validate. Find out where that happened, though. We should never have been able to get here, though. How did we get here? It's doing it now, but... it's being a little bit too passive. Oh, that's why. Oops. My bad. I was like, how does it get there? Yeah, no, I can't even feel too bad for you though, because at the same time, it was like, how many weeks ago did you say that you needed to order one? So you waited until the laptop said, "Okay, boss, I quit." No, it didn't do it. Console. So it's stopping here. So something is wrong with this logic. Alright. Okay, this is wrong. We don't care about this, actually. Care about this. I think that's where the problem is. It's a little bit too aggressive there. I don't. No, no, no. I have. I go on. No, no, no. Go on. My phone is 5 years old. It still works. It may still boot back to life. It just turned off, and I actually did it because motivation. Yeah. I mean, I recall you telling me, "Hey, we got it." There it is. Pretty cool. Okay. So now we just need to adjust the distance that it wants to spawn from the parent. Grr. We need to... Alright, we need to read the child slot at some point. We set it up here. We set the grid position. So it's actually before this that we give the grid position. So we need to go one step back. Okay, here we go. Candidate position. Find available position. There we go. Let's do a +1 block size just to see like what happens. I'm being very a hammer to a screwdriver's job right now because I don't want to. Yeah, I don't want to deal with this. All right, let's go +3. What the heck? Oh, that's why. It's not this. I mean, this is going to be a problem down the road, but right now the problem is over here. Okay, that's where the problem. So basically, we have a virtual adjustment to the size. It is. Yeah, there we go. Now it moved up slightly. Okay. We need to adjust that. I wish I didn't have hands that crave destruction. The phone I had before, my current one, I replaced the screen, but after a week, the full plastic base snapped in two in my pocket. Ouch. And it was because I didn't feel like applying more glue, so I just kept it in my pocket all day. Actually, I think I should test myself for ADHD the next time I have the chance. That would be... Oh, there's something wrong with the way that sentence was put together. I just can't put my finger on it though. But if you think that's if that's a positive, I'm with you. Okay, so we're not getting here, are we? Oh, we are. Okay. So we're good. We're getting through this now. Where did we set this? I think that's where the problem is. Candidate offsets. Are we ever setting this? Oh, we set it over here at the top, I think. Yep, there we go. Okay. Alright, let's wrap my brain around what I'm trying to do here. Basically, we try to find an available position around the parent's position. So we pass the parent's position. We give it the size of the object that needs to find a place near the parent. And then we get the various offsets that this can take in. And then we give it also a list of cells that are already occupied. So then from there, this wants to check using the, let's see where it's using the block size. Right. It wants to check, is the block free within that block size? So we actually don't want that. Okay, let's start with this. See if this helps. Again, I'm just rushing through this because I want to get to building the skill tree. I don't want to worry about this stuff right now. But I just needed to get spacing so I can properly see, because it's going to get cluttered if I don't do this. There we go. All right. Now, let's see what happens if I do this. Let's make a new stat node and just do it like this, go like that. Okay, we'll save this and let's run it and see what it looks like over here. Okay. I think it should be over here, not right here, though. Interesting. that should give us... I'm going to see if it's going to overlap back with the line. It should not. There we go. I mean, this is the thing about Unity and just setting this up in general. It's very clear that this distance is not the same as this distance. These two distances are fine, but this distance is very clearly not the same as these two. Right? Like, I'm pretty sure this line is longer than this line. Like, it's not my eyes playing tricks on it. And this is the problem that I bumped into before. I think we need to... I'm going to do that off stream, but what we need to do is... I think we need to do the calculation and then have it snap to a position on the grid. Or it could be that there's simply no position right here on the grid. And so this is it snapping to this position. Like, there's no, basically the grid goes like this. Like, this is one slot on the grid, basically. And the easiest way to test this theory is... you can go here and adjust the grid. Even still. Yeah, even still, that's not a thing. Maybe a grid isn't... yeah, I need to rethink that approach. Maybe a grid isn't the right approach to this. I think what we want to do is be a little bit more free. And instead, we're just going to use geometry. So I need to rethink the approach there. Okay, I'll head out, go cycle or something. I haven't driven anywhere since last week. Maybe I'll figure out how to redesign the entire You're still working on that, dude? Did you do any reading on, like, how economies work in games? Like, how people set that up? Because that might speed up the process a bit. Just, like, seeing how other people handled it. Okay, so let's build this out. So that was just to get it to display. We know that it's going to display. So, like, if I do this... and do save graph, we know that it's going to keep going up, up, and out. Right? So this is working fine. Actually, I want to test something out. I don't know how it's going to handle that. It doesn't. Oh, it does. We just forgot to save. Oops. Yeah, we just forgot to save. Okay. Okay, now let's try it. Middle mouse button is not set. That is true. I should not have pressed middle mouse button. That's cool. Let's make the grid a little bit bigger so we can see, like, because right now the grid is kind of small. 75 was a good number. There we go. See what it looks like. It's not so scrunched up. That's cool. So a part of me is thinking that I want to do that whole network thing. If I'm going to be redoing this and using just vectors instead of using grids, then doing a network graph might actually be pretty cool. What do you think? Listening to some YouTube video. Oh yeah, I don't remember a single sentence. Maybe it's somewhere in the subconscious. I mean, that's the learning process you're describing, right? Like, you take something in, you don't quite register it yet, but the solution to that is, believe it or not, practice. Once you've already taken it in, and it's just a matter of actually doing it and giving it a chance to become muscle memory effectively. Okay. So I'm thinking we're going to turn this, you know what? This is what I mean. Like, I get sidetracked. That's not what I'm here to do. I'm here to fill this out and build out the scripts related to this. We're dealing with build side stuff, folks. We're not dealing with anything the player's going to see quite yet. Okay. All right. So we were going to change this, how this works, because I didn't like it. Where's that node? There it is. It should be down here. This is going to be an integer now. This is going to be 25, 25. You know what? Let's go all the way to 200. I just didn't like having to go through those percentages. I wanted, or the decimal. I would rather just deal with whole numbers. And yeah, so this is the other side of that broker system, if you remember, from earlier streams. Okay, so over here now, we can just change this to... We will increase this by 5%. Or it will add 5% to your total lethality. Base lethality. Is that just base lethality or martial lethality? Yeah, martial. Okay. And then from here, we'll add in... Nice. These are just temporary names for now. Gonna change it in a second. Just to get this out of the way. I think this one is what? This one is critical damage. This one is critical damage. So let's change that to critical chance. You know what? Let's actually mimic the way it's going to be set up in the game. Yeah, the more I do this, the more I feel like I want it to be a network graph. I feel like that would be super cool. I don't know, maybe. I need to think on it. This one is partial honing through. So we had chance, damage, and now defense. We'll go by 5% for this. Alright. Let's save the graph, and let's see what this looks like when we play. That looks pretty good. That's pretty cool. Alright, cool beans. Alright, what else? Alright, so okay, so this will just increase your overall lethality by 1%. Then each one of these has various percentages, but this one is now the martial lethality for 5% here. There's a total of 6% base damage that's been added, and then we have 5% additional critical damage, and I think it's 1% additional critical chance. And then from here, once you go through these steps, so it's basically this, you unlock this game feature, then you buff your character up a bit, and then you go and I think it's too early to break these apart. I think it's too early to break them apart. Right? So we're going to all right, let's look at the graph instead of trying to come up with something off the top of my head. So we probably want to go into branching off into the different weapons at this point, right? So we kind of really have to think about what do these weapons favor. You have more critical centric weapons, so they want more crit chance. Then you have weapons that already have high crit chance, but they could use more critical damage. The weapons that, or the ones that already do focus critical damage, could go here. The ones that focus more into crit chance could go here, so you can continue to buff them up. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to make, instead of putting the weakest into each, I'm going to put this thing that weapon is just really good at, and branch this off into those weapons proper. Yeah, okay. Alright, so this is saying that I should make a cluster. So by this point in the game, what happens, right? In order to get here, you'd probably be at, like, this is just early on. Then by here, you'd probably be basically like level 5-ish. If you want to put it like into comparison. So this is probably about like 30 minutes at most of gameplay. Like if you're just doing everything optimal, you could probably get here within like 10 minutes. Well, no, I shouldn't say that. Still need to meditate. All right, let's think of it the other way. Let's say by right here, you should have reached You should have, assuming that the storyline has gone past and everything. Actual gameplay, when you hit open world stuff, you have the ability to do your thing. Hey, thank you very much, Sophia Turn. That's really cool. The name of wisdom, awesome. Sophia. So we have, let's say you've gone through the story. So let's say you've gone through the tutorial and everything. By the time you get to this, you get the ability to select which path you want to go. So you could go the magical path, you could go life skills path, or you could go the martial path. So if you've chosen the martial path, you could always invest into the other stuff later on. But this is probably like an hour into the gameplay, right? No, I shouldn't make it. Maybe 30 minutes into the gameplay you've reached right here. Because I kind of want the player to be able to get an understanding. So it's going to be the tutorial NPC that gives the first book. That's going to give you the skill point, and you get to decide which book you want to go with. You put one into the martial Dao, he'll give you a martial-related book. You put one into the mystic, or you put one into the life. And that's how it will go. From there, if you increase your weapon weapon proficiency, that should get you to martial honing. So one level of that should get you to martial honing 1, which will just increase your overall lethality by 2%, which is extremely powerful for whatever branch you go into later on. And then you have these, which are going to be branching you off into the different weapon types. Right? I'm trying to use like these stat nodes as more like branching points. Like you still get something for going over here, right? And so, but I want to make each one a little bit tempting. So these unlock nodes right here, like there's going to be an unlock node in one of these. I'm just not sure which one yet. So even if you decide, hey, I want to use scythes, and scythes just more on the lethality front, you probably want to get your additional alt attack earlier, and you get that by going like over here a little bit and investing in different areas to get to these nodes. That's the idea. So let's make our first cluster. We're gonna make the chakram cluster. I haven't actually put chakrams in the game yet, in this version of the game yet. So this is gonna be pretty fun. I think orbs are my favorite so far. Wait, stop. I think chakrams should be more on... Should we have a status chance, martial status chance? In other words, when you hit something, the chance that you'll apply a status effect to your opponent when you hit them. I think we should do that. I think we should do that. I think that's a thing. Okay, we're going to be deviating from this for a second. We're going to be doing some necessary refactoring a little bit. Okay, so in the parameters section, or is it skill tree? No. Over here. We don't have to do much coding, actually. Well, let me not jinx it. Sorry. Okay, so we're going to create a new scriptable object. Okay. So it's going to be martial status chance. And mystic status chance. This is the chance that we're going to, when we hit stuff, or whatever the case might be, that we are going to apply a status effect. To Miss Marshall. Okay, good. Okay, we're gonna leave it that way. I don't think we finished making the initial builds. Did we? We checked the game manager. Where are you, game manager? There it is, manager. Entity initializer, here we go. Yeah, we have to add it. Okay, so... Fortunately, we don't physically add these things. And just do this. It would be really bad to have to do that every single time. So we're going to register this with our addressable system. Did it do it? Guess it did it. Or do we have an error? Yeah, we have an error. What are we complaining about? Ah, we got a bug. Let's find out what that bug is. Okay, there we go. Turn this off for right now, because I want to at least see like what they are. I mean, it did work. It populated over here. But it threw an error, so I want to find out what that's about. Now it did it without throwing the error. Interesting. Now we don't have an error. I don't know what that's about. Alright, let's try that one more time. I'm trying to fish for that error to happen again. Nothing. Okay. It seems like whatever the problem was, it fixed itself. Alright. So now we just need to go... Grr, where are you? Where are you? Managers. We just need to go back to the entity initializer script and add this. So what this is doing is it will populate for us on the scene, the array, the stat, the raw scriptable object version of the stat. And then from there, when we're ready to, when a new character is ready to be created, it will just pull all of these stats onto itself, create new instances that of usable versions of these, and then assign itself base values based on whatever it passes into the initializer as what should be. So that's whether or not it's random, and the max inclination. By default, 0.5 tries to create like a normal human being kind of situation. Higher than this, and you start getting like superpowered characters. All right. Okay, so now that we have that, let's go back to here. So when we create, so why did I do that? So I want to kind of make each weapon something that's kind of special. It can do other things, but it kind of specializes into one of the martial stats, right? So you might get a weapon here that specializes in martial critical. And I want to make these kind of like a clear flag of, hey, if you're building this, then these are the kind of weapons that you'll be dealing with. Same thing here, right? And I want to make it kind of clear to the player, this is the direction you're going with these weapons. And so it's up to the player entirely if they want to, like, let's say I put Chakram on this side, but they decide they want to go this side. You know, it's a hybrid build at that point. Do your thing. There's no real limit. There's no limit on power that you can accumulate. Is what the way that I have this planned out. It's just, it'll just get grindy if you get that deep into it. But if you can deal with that, you do it. But to get to the part where you don't need to do that, it'd be pretty easy. Okay, so let's add a new stat over here. There we go. There we go. You have a 3% chance, additionally, of landing a. This would be martial owning AI. Okay. So the weapons that we're going to be working with now are, we have a couple of them. We have the scythe. Where is it? Okay. We have the sword, the regular sword, the great sword. We have the scythe. We have the chakram, the maul, and the thing that's it. Oh yeah, and the spear. Oh, and the orbs, obviously. All right, let's make a note of that somewhere. I think there's one more, right? What did I say? Oh, scythe. Okay. So we're going to be making damage types. And technically these were our damage types. But we're going to approach this differently now. These are, I'll call them stats. but the actual damage type is going to be like this. So let's do a couple ones for the mystical also while we're here. Now this is important because these are also elements. Believe it or not, the way that this is going to be working. We don't just have these as our base elements. So these will have their own elements also. But elements are different in that these elements... This is what I mean. Like... Do we need to create a damage types, or should we just extend elements? I think we should just extend elements. I think element is serving the same purpose. But it just has too much information in it. Okay. I think we should probably... Give me 1 second. I think the player won't be confused. Right? Because you could potentially have a weapon that is, let's say, a sword. And it would have the sword element on it. That means when you attack, that weapon will do sword damage type. But a portion of that damage, let's say the sword was also had like holy damage or something, right? Then a portion of that damage would be holy related. It doesn't mean that the sword is a holy bolt or something like that. The sword is still a sword, functionally. I don't think the player would get confused by that. You could technically call that a holy sword, right? In that case. that affords a level of flexibility. The question is two-part. Will the player get confused, and is this scalable? I think it is very flexible, just by the nature of how generic the elements are. But I think we should just make these elements. Yeah, let's do it. Okay. Wait. What about particle effects and stuff like that? What are the actual elements doing right now? Let's take a look and see what they're handling. This is the most complicated part about this, I think. Oh no, wait. Oh! Wait. Oh! We have no problems. We actually have no problems. We're good. We're golden. I gotta thank Past Me for setting things up that way. When I meet him, I'll let him know. That was super awesome. Alright, we're good to go. We can proceed. I don't have my problems that all the stuff I was worrying about just went out the window. That was good. Okay, so we just need to add a new stat. Where are you? Element stat. There we go. There we go. So we'll call, let's say, Scythe. Because I want this... Oh, cool. I didn't realize I did that. I'm telling you, Past Me was freaking MVP, bro. It's automatically updating this. That's nice. So orb. Chakram. So we have the Chakram, Spear. So we have Sword, Great Sword, Maul. Okay. So we already have Sword, so this would be, we only need the Maul and the Great Sword. Okay, and we do have one more stat that we can add here. Hey. So this is a total of 6 different target stats that are possible under Martial, and we have 7 different weapons. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 different elements. Let's just update our addressables. Okay, there we go. Scene. It complained about something. Element data has been destroyed. That shouldn't happen. What do you mean it's been destroyed? Oh, okay. Line 56. So, before we get here, actually, take care of it over here. Doesn't work that. There we go. There we go. That should now prevent that error from ever coming up again. Basically, what we just did is anytime that we try to make our list... Okay, so we need to do it now so we can just test it, see if it actually works. There we go. So anytime we try to remake our list, that if there's something in the list that shouldn't be there, it will just remove itself from the list. Upside is it's gone. The downside is we'll never know that the problem exists. But I'm okay with that, believe me. So initial points that I usually set, it looks like it's got a ton of parameters turned on. I'm not going to really mess with all of these. No real reason to. But it looks like all of these are pretty much the same for the purposes of initialization. Yeah, okay. Can I just do this? I don't think this works, but no, it doesn't work. I'm pretty sure. You know, let's try it. Pretty sure that doesn't work. Oh, it does. Awesome. We'll worry about the colors and stuff later. For now, this is gonna work fine. So what is this doing? Basically, in this game, I'm pretty sure it's been seen in previous streams, and I'm pretty sure it's been seen in previous. There's next to your, let's call it your life bar, or underneath it, there are a couple slanted bars with various colors. That's these different elements. So that kind of functions as your resistance to this type of element. The higher the number, the better, basically. But you have a total amount of energy anyway that these things work in ratio with. It doesn't function like energy in the normal sense, I think. It's not like something you normally just expend as energy. Generally, it's used up when you take damage. And in cases when you're using like your finisher or your ultimate attack, basically, it'll use up some of it as well. But the idea is that the more of it you have at the time that you take damage or deal damage, the better. It'll mitigate the damage based on the comparison to the amount of damage that your enemy's putting out of the same element. And in some cases, if you're just like overwhelmingly, let's say like you have a ton of fire element and somebody's hitting you with a weaker fire damage, much weaker. Instead of hurting you, it'll actually heal you. It'll still expend your fire energy to convert it that way. But it'll be healing your stamina up and making you capable of staying in the fight even more and dealing more stuff without worrying about your stamina. This is working off of that old school concept of combat with in RPGs, where these action RPGs, where your basic attacks are your energy builders. So your basic 3-hit combo will always build up energy in most cases, I think. When you do your alternates, or when you use your finisher, that's when it will blow through your stamina. So you kind of just want to mix them in. And so when you're taking damage from fire in this case, and you have a ton of fire, while your fire energy will be slowly depleting every time you take a hit from fire, it's actually, as long as the difference is staggeringly enough, you'll actually be regenerating stamina faster as you take hits, and you won't be taking any damage to your life or anything like that. So that's how, in my mind, combat is going to be set up. And that's the function of these elements. Okay. Did I just lose some? Oh, yeah. I forgot to save. Let's turn autosaving on. I don't know if it actually works. There's a quick way to find out. Remove this. Patch it. Hey, it works. Okay. Okay. So now it's we got to figure out which weapons do I want to have tied to. We have five rather different stats. Did we? Okay, let's do that here. Oh, wait, we have to do this. No, we did do it. Okay, so we're gonna save Spear for last on this. Or maybe not. So this is something I've been thinking of, which are event nodes, right? Basically, we tell it what event we want it to listen for, and then what conditions it needs to meet for it to satisfy that event. Let's see if autosave is actually working or not first. I mean, it should be working. It showed up over there, but run it. It'll delete itself if autosave is not working. Oh, autosave is working. Awesome. Okay. All right, so let's... All right, so this is critical damage. So which weapon should be the one that is more focused on critical damage? Probably the greatsword. Not about critical chance or attack speed or base power when it hits. Or should this just be the base martial lethality? And this maul, because the mauls are kind of a thing too. These two could really be in the same place. Oddly. They're just very big weapons that hurt when they hit you. Maybe we should make both of these vitality and have them share that, and then split the rest up across the others. Let's see what my graph says. Realm gate. So fear, macro, orbs, small. Okay, crushing, will, power, stamina. Oh yeah. Okay. Endurance. We almost forgot about the endurance stat. Ah. Okay. So we have another I mean, we're not going to mess with it here, but we have another stat that's important. So there's two stats that are important for Marshall. Um one is power, the other one is endurance. So I think we could possibly put the Maul under critical defense. Do I have stat for regular defense? Yeah, I think this is it, resistance. I think resistance is just handling everything. Yeah, okay, I got you. Okay, there we go. Now we have... I feel like we're missing one. One, two. 1, 2, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, we're missing one. Oh, this is Mystic. 1, 2. Okay, no, we're good. 1, 2. I hate having to make these decisions, but I like it at the same time. These are the decisions I want to make, but I'd rather be making them like while in the shower or something. Ah, not streaming. But we have to make a decision. All right, let's start with naming these things properly. One, two. Okay. All right, so let's change the names of these. I guess we don't need that. Critical. Critical chance. Let's turn that off. I think autosave is missing. There we go. I need to take a look at what's going on with autosave. It did store my, yeah. So this one is critical defense. Just martial lethality. Martial status chance. Which one is this one now? Resistance. So I did a thing. What thing did you do, Nepal? Go for it, man. I mean, that's kind of... I think that's kind of your jam, dude. Yep, go for it. Okay. I think we're good. Let's save everything. Awesome. So they... You got sold on it? Now, we can implement another stat and call it martial status duration. That's a thing also. I don't think that's where we want to go with this. I think I have a good idea now of how I want to handle this. We need to stop here. I think I need to do some refactoring on the stat side and how they affect combat, because I'm going to implement the last one here, which is the status chance duration. And that is going to be the one that is going to have the 7th weapon. Or we could just drop the 7th weapon. Right, and there's nothing stopping me from making weapons share have overlaps. Alright, there are going to be overlaps, no matter what. Yeah, I think I'm going to stop here. That, and it's getting super cold, so this is usually a pretty good time to stop. Probably the next time that you see it. So if there's a demand for wanting to see how the code was for putting this type of thing together, I'll show it, I'll walk through it, and I'll probably even make one on stream so it can be seen like step by step how it's done. But this is in that area where I'm like I would say newbie / intermediate at developing it, because the way that I made this, I consider it to be good enough for sharing when I can do it in a generic way that you could just take the code and slap it in any project that you wanted to. This one is kind of designed for this project. Alright, like I can't just take this and then slap it into my, I mean, in theory I could. There'd just be small changes that need to be made. But generally speaking, there's some things that are just like targeting specific things. Granted, there's no dependency. So, like right here, for example, it's looking for skill tree data, right? That kind of thing. Rather than the skill tree like telling it, hey, this is me, do something with this information, and that information just being generic to Unity. So I haven't set it up that way. Okay, we're gonna call it there. That was fun. Dude, I hope you enjoy your I hope you enjoy the game. I mean, good for you. That's I mean, it's you went through fighting that one guy. I guess after beating him, you just want more suffering and punishment. Like if it's a Souls-like. So but you did get me back into trying out TSO, so I probably will be playing that, I guess, at some point today. It depends on how I feel about this. Like right now I feel like I need a mental break from... I just need to... So this part is obviously very easy. The hard part is I'm drawing these pictures in my head. So maybe I need to spend some time and like get a piece of paper and just draw out what the skill tree should look like. I think that's what I'm going to do next. I'm going to just lie down, draw this stuff out, and then come back at this. I don't think just doing it on the computer alone is going to be what I need. And then after I do this whole schematic, then I will make it make sense. Code. Alright, that's it. We're going to call it there. Thank you guys for joining. Hopefully that was entertaining at least a little bit. Like, again, if you want to see how this system was made, it was made using UI elements. I did not even touch UI elements though, the GUI side of it, which I get the irony. Because, like I said, I'd rather eat a brick than use that thing. I just coded this entire thing together. You got to see some of how a game's architecture is set up. I'm really liking this setup, though. I wish I had started this earlier, but I didn't really get the benefit of doing it until now. Or yesterday, really. Okay, let's do it. Let's call it there. Have a wonderful day, folks.